Now this is the outlet that we're going to be replacing today. It's the outlet that we plug our vacuum into. It goes in. You can see how it doesn't hold it very well. Sometimes it falls out. It's really loose. Now, a loose outlet can be kind of dangerous because the pins in there that actually hold in what you're plugging in, when they loosen up, they can create arcing and heat, and that can become a fire hazard. So we're going to go ahead and replace this. Since we're not upgrading the functionality or the style of the outlet, all we need is the exact same outlet. There's nothing wrong with the cover plate. If this cover plate was cracked, or broken, we'd want to replace it, but this one's fine. So we're going to use the same cover plate. When you're replacing an outlet, you want to make sure that the power is off first. So go to your electrical box, wherever your breakers are, or if you've got a fuse box, and make sure you shut off the power to the circuit. Now, you can either plug in a lamp and have someone yell at you when the light goes off so that you know that it's off, or if you're alone, you can plug in a radio, turn the volume way up, and listen for the music to go off. I've got this tester, and it has a light on it, so I'm just going to plug that in. Now, the reason you do this is because not everyone's electrical panels are labeled properly, so you always want to double check by doing this. Once you're sure that the power is off to the outlet that you're going to be working on, we're going to remove the outlet from the wall. Start by removing the cover plate. It's usually held on by 1 or 2 screws. It's usually a small flat head that holds that on. So once you remove it, if you don't see the screws, it could be one of those fancier plates that like snap off to reveal the screws that you're supposed to remove. Next, you want to remove the top and the bottom screws that are holding the outlet to the box. Now, sometimes these are painted over and sticking against the wall, and you may have to use your utility knife to score that so that it doesn't peel the paint off. These screws are usually a Phillips head screw, so you're going to remove these. Now, depending on how much wire you actually have inside the box will determine whether you want to try and unhook the wire from the screw on the side or whether you're going to clip them off. If your wires are long enough, like mine here, they're plenty long, I recommend that you actually clip that off, and we'll actually strip the insulation to expose some fresh wire. So let's go ahead and actually clip off the wires as close to the outlet as you can. So the next step is to connect the existing wires to our new outlet. On the back, you'll see some different things. You'll notice that one side is labeled hot and the other side is labeled white. Now the white wire goes to white and the black wire goes to hot, and your bare copper wire goes to ground. You'll also find a recommendation of how much copper to leave exposed when stripping the insulation away. Now I prefer to loop the wires around the screws, and my strippers actually have a small hole here, and I can put the wire through that hole and make my loop. Now, if you have pliers, just take your pliers, grip at the top, and roll it over to make the hook. Once your hooks are made, put them over the screws so that the hooks are bent clockwise. This way, when you tighten the screw, it naturally pulls the hooks towards the middle rather than pushing it away. You want to tighten these screws down snug. Not to the point where you strip the screws, but tight. Electricity causes tiny vibrations, and if you don't tighten them down properly, it can become loose. And when that happens, you can get arcing against the screws, and that can become a fire hazard. Now, once your wires are connected and the screws are tightened down, you're ready to push the outlet back into the wall. You want to take the wires, push them into the back of the box, kind of like an accordion, and then tighten down the 2 screws on the top and the bottom. You may have to adjust the outlet side to side so that it sits flush against the wall. Next, we want to put the cover plate back on. And like I said, you're either going to have 1 screw in the middle or a screw on the top and the bottom. Now the last step is to go and reconnect the power and make sure everything's hooked up right. So the power's back on. Here's our same plug from our vacuum. When we put it in, it's much better, holding everything tight. As you can see, with a little information and instruction, replacing an outlet is something you can totally do yourself. Just be safe, and if you ever feel like you've gotten in over your head, stop and call an electrician you trust to come and help. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.